All right, welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at something, well, it's a bit different, I got to say.
Yeah, a little outside our usual territory.
You sent this one over, and honestly, I wasn't sure what to make of it at first.
Yeah, it's definitely unique.
Soul in the driver's seat, right?
Yeah. Received.
From Jesus. I mean, let's just put that right out there.
Right. And, we're not here to judge the source or anything. We always say that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're all about the content. So, what's the core message here?
Well, it's interesting because in a way it's a pretty familiar message, right? Like peace, love, understanding, all that. But it's framed in a way that's, well, it's pretty out there.
Yeah, no kidding. The language is pretty intense. Like it talks about waking up from an insane illusion and how this truth, this core truth, has been hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, and that core truth, at least according to this book, is that every single one of us at our core is a soul, like a part of something much, much bigger.
So, okay, this insane illusion we're supposedly trapped in. What is that exactly?
Basically, the idea is that we're not really living from our souls, right? We're living from this ego, this sort of false self that's driven by fear and all these limiting beliefs.
And this ego is keeping us from seeing the truth, from being love, basically.
Exactly. Because the book argues that love is the answer, right, to everything. But it's not just about believing in love or even feeling love. It's about being love.
Okay, and that's a big difference because I mean, we all say we love things, right? We love our families, we love pizza, we love I don't know, our favorite TV shows.
Yeah, and that's fine, right? But this book is talking about a different kind of love. A love that's unconditional, that doesn't depend on anything outside of itself.
A love that doesn't need anything in return.
Right. And the book makes this point that it's not about trying to become some, perfect version of yourself.
Like some kind of saint or something.
Exactly. It's actually the opposite. It's about stripping away all the pretense, all the fear, all the need for approval. And what's left, what's underneath all that is this pure, authentic love.
That's already there, right?
It's always been there. It's our true nature.
Okay, so how do we get there? How do we strip away all that stuff and let that love shine through?
Well, that's where this section of the book called Steps to Authenticity comes in. It was originally designed as a workbook, like with exercises and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But in the book, it's just a series of daily reflections, 365 of them, actually, one for every day of the year.
So like a year-long program.
Right. And it's structured kind of like A Course in Miracles, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, I heard of it.
It's all about forgiveness and changing your perception. And this book kind of does the same thing, but with love as the central focus.
I see. And these reflections, they're supposed to help us, what, like strengthen our connection to our soul, our true self.
Exactly. And to quiet the ego, that voice in our head that's always telling us we're not good enough or that we need to be something we're not.
There's like an internal mentor kind of guiding us back to ourselves.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And the book even uses that language, actually. It talks about the mentor, which is like the soul dominant part of us, and the mentee, which is like the part of us that's still, emerging, still learning.
Cool. So each month has a different theme, right?
Yep. And we're going to be focusing on September's theme, which is, of course, love.
Okay, so September, love. Where do we even begin?
Well, the book starts off with this question. It asks, have you ever fallen in love and then fallen out of love? And I think, a lot of us can relate to that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, who hasn't had their heart broken at some point, right?
Yeah. Right. And the book uses this question to make a really important distinction. It separates what we usually call love, like, romantic love, or even just strong feelings of affection.
Which can be pretty intense.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But it separates that from what it calls true love, unconditional love, which is, coming from the soul.
Okay, so what's the difference? Why do we fall out of quote unquote love with people, but this true love, it never goes away?
Well, the book argues that the love we usually experience, it's often conditional, right? It's based on certain things, like someone's looks or their personality or how they make us feel. And when those things change or we don't get what we want anymore, then the love can fade.
It's like a transaction almost, like I'll love you if you do this for me or if you're this way.
Yeah, exactly. But true love, it's not like that. It's unconditional. It doesn't depend on anything. It just is.
And because it's unconditional, it never needs to forgive,
Yeah.
right? Because there's nothing to forgive.
Exactly. That's a really important point. True love doesn't judge. It doesn't condemn. It just accepts.
Okay, that's pretty radical. actually. And the book goes on to say that anything that isn't this true, unconditional love is actually a call for love.
Yeah, it's like our soul is always calling out for more of what it truly is, which is love.
But it's not the ego that's making that call, right?
Right.
Because the ego doesn't even know what true love is.
Right. The ego is all about fear and separation. So it's kind of like this deep unconscious longing that we have.
And can manifest in all sorts of ways, right? Like needing approval or trying to control people or even just feeling lonely and isolated.
Yeah, exactly. And the book talks about these really extreme examples like people who stay in abusive relationships or who keep going back to people who hurt them.
And it's saying that that's not true love, right?
Right. It's saying that in those situations, the most loving thing you can do is love yourself enough to walk away.
To set boundaries, to
Yeah.
protect yourself.
Exactly, because true love can say no. It can say, this is not okay, and it can walk away from anything that's not in alignment with itself.
Wow. So how do we actually start applying this? Like
Yeah.
in our everyday lives?
Well, the book has these guidelines for how to use the daily
Right, the
reflections.
365 reflections.
Yeah. And it basically says, pick a time each day, maybe in the morning or before bed, and just sit with the reflection for that day.
Just reflect on it, think about it.
Yeah. And be patient with yourself. It's a process, right? It's not going to happen overnight.
And it's a year-long process.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into some of these September reflections.
All right.
September 1st. It says, give an example of a time when you had to love from a distance for your own well-being.
Yeah. That's a powerful one right off the bat.
It's saying that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is create some space, right?
Yeah, and I think we all have those relationships, where maybe it's not healthy for us to be super close.
Maybe it's a family member or a friend or even a romantic partner.
Right. And it's not about cutting them out of your life completely. It's just about, protecting your own energy, your own well-being.
Okay, September 2nd. Love is concerned with itself first and foremost. Now that sounds a little selfish, right?
Yeah, at first glance.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it makes sense.
You can't give what you don't have.
Exactly. You can't pour from an empty cup. So if you want to be able to truly love others, you have to love yourself first.
You have to take care of yourself, nurture yourself.
Right. And that includes setting boundaries, saying no when you need to, all that stuff.
Okay, September 3rd. Love extends to love. Souls give love to other souls.
That's a nice one. It's like we're all connected on this deeper level.
Like beyond all the superficial stuff.
Exactly. And when we recognize that connection, then love just flows naturally.
Okay, September 4th. The ego is incapable of accepting true love.
Yeah, that one's pretty straightforward, right?
The ego is all about fear and lack, and true love is the opposite of that.
Yeah. It's like trying to mix oil and water. They just don't go together.
September 5th. If someone is accepting true love, this is because their soul is accepting true love and has risen to the surface to do so.
It's like the more we connect with our soul, the more we open up to love.
And the more we can receive love too, right?
Exactly. And give love too.
September 6th.
Uh-huh.
Love does not fix anything at the character level. It works from the inside out.
It's not about changing our behavior. It's about changing our perspective.
Yeah, like real change comes from within, not from trying to force ourselves to be different.
Right. And love can do that. It can transform us from the inside out.
Okay, September 7th and 8th. These are really powerful. No one ever has to do anything to deserve love. And all are deserving of love.
That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we often think of love as something that needs to be earned, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like we have to be good enough or do enough good things to deserve love.
But the book is saying that that's not true, that love is our birthright.
It's just who we are at our core.
Exactly.
Okay, September 9th. Love is the only thing here that is real. It is eternal and unchanging.
It's like everything else is temporary,
Everything changes, everything fades. But love is constant.
It's the one true thing.
September 10th. The world is largely an example of the resistance to love.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
It's saying that all the pain and suffering in the world, it's all just a reflection of our resistance to love.
Like we're choosing fear over love.
And that's creating all this chaos.
Yeah.
Okay, September 11th. Love is patient and will wait until someone is ready to receive this gift.
Yeah, it's not going to force itself on anyone.
It's always there, waiting for us to open up to it. September 12th. How many times have you fallen in love, only to discover that it wasn't love at all?
Makes you think, right?
Like looking back on all those relationships, all those intense feelings, were they really love? Or were they something else?
Attachment, maybe? Or infatuation?
Or even just like a need to be loved? Okay, September 13th and 14th. It is exciting to apply love or look through its eyes.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And love will show me a whole new world I'd never seen before.
It's like when you start seeing the world through the lens of love, everything changes.
It's a whole new perspective.
Totally.
Okay, September 15th. When I look through the lens of love, I will see what is love and what is not love.
So love is like a filter almost.
It helps us see things more clearly.
And to distinguish between what's real and what's not.
Okay, September 16th and 17th. I'm ready to put aside all of my ideas about love. And my ideas about love come from places where there isn't any love.
Yeah, that's a big one too, because we all have these preconceived notions about what love is, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. From our families, our culture, the media, all that stuff.
But the book is saying that a lot of those ideas are actually based on fear or lack or just, misunderstanding.
So we have to be willing to let go of all that, to start fresh.
Right, to open ourselves up to a new way of understanding love.
Okay, September 18th. Movies, TV shows, social media, romance novels, and my own characters' experiences don't really explain what love is, although they all purport to do so.
Like, none of those things can really teach us what true love is.
They might show us some nice images or tell us some nice stories, but it's not the real thing.
Yeah, they're just projections, right?
Okay, September 19th and 20th. The only thing that truly knows love is itself. And my soul is love.
So it's like love is its own source. It doesn't need anything else. It just is.
And because our soul is love, we already have everything we need.
We are love.
Wow. Okay, September 21st. I can trust what my soul shows me as I open up to it.
Trust your intuition. Trust your gut.
Trust that inner voice that's always guiding you towards love.
Yeah.
September 22nd. I am willing to put aside what I think love is so I can discover what it really is.
Be open to learning. Be open to being surprised.
Don't let your preconceived notions limit you. Okay, September 23rd and 24th. Do I think unconditional love may be a sign of weakness?
That's a good question.
And am I afraid to live in such a violent world with love as my guide?
It's scary, right? To think about being vulnerable, to think about opening ourselves up to love in a world that can be so harsh.
But the book is saying that that's where our true strength lies.
In our willingness to love no matter what.
Okay, September 25th. Love is unrestricted care and concern for oneself and for others.
So it's not just about loving others, it's about loving ourselves too.
And it's about doing both without any limits, without any conditions.
Exactly.
Okay, September 26th and 27th. Love embraces both itself and everything that isn't love yet. And love accepts the absence of love as a challenge. The whole reason we are all here is to simply shine light on the absence of love.
So love doesn't shy away from darkness. It doesn't judge it or condemn it.
It just shines its light on it.
And transforms it.
Okay, September 28th. Love doesn't judge or attack anything. Judgment and attack are in the realm of ego, not soul.
Love just accepts.
It sees everything as perfect, just as it is.
Even the things that we might judge or condemn.
September 29th. Love makes decisions on what is love and what is not love yet.
So it's not about being passive.
Love is active. It makes choices. It takes action.
But it does so from a place of wisdom and compassion.
Okay. And finally, September 30th. When you wake up each morning, ask this question. What will love have me do today? Or does it want me to be still and simply be?
That's a beautiful way to start the day, right?
Just checking in with love, asking for guidance.
Yeah.
So, wow, that was a lot to think about.
Yeah, definitely a lot to unpack there.
But I think the main takeaway is that love is, well, it's everything, right? It's who we are at our core. And when we connect with that love, when we let it guide our lives, then everything changes.
Exactly. And it's a journey, right? It's not something that happens overnight. But these reflections, they can help us along the way. They can help us to remember who we truly are.
Remember that we are love.
Yeah.
So for you, the listener, I hope this has been helpful. And I encourage you to really sit with these reflections, see how they resonate with you.
Yeah, and think about your own experiences with love, the love you've given, the love you've received. And ask yourself, was it true unconditional love? Or was it something else?
And if it wasn't true love, what was it? And what can you learn from that?
And then here's a final thought for you to ponder. If love really is the only real thing, the only eternal thing, as this book claims, then what would your life look like if you truly lived from that place? if you let love guide all of your decisions, all of your actions, all of your interactions.
If you really truly believe that love is the answer, how would that change everything?
That's something to think about.
It is. I gotta say, this whole deep dive has been amazing. I was a little skeptical at first, modern day Jesus channeling a book. It sounded a little out there.
Haha, I get it.
But honestly, I'm really impressed. It's not just some vague spiritual stuff. It's like real world advice on how to actually live a better life.
And anyone can use it, you know? It doesn't matter what you believe or where you come from. It's about tapping into that love that's already inside us.
Yeah, and it's not some complicated thing. It's just about making choices, like every day, to choose love.
And on that note, I want to leave you with this. The source says, no one ever has to do anything to deserve love.
Wow, that's powerful. So it's not something we have to earn. It's just there.
It's who we are.
I love that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another exploration of all these fascinating ideas that really make you think.